with the Investing News Network, and here today with me is Richard Spencer, President and Director at Aurania Resources. Thank you for joining me today.
Thanks for having me, Sean.
Thank you. So to start off, the company has a very interesting story behind it. Can you tell me a little bit about the background?
Charlotte, it's got this big historical story, the two lost cities, and that was a crucial phase of the company. The critical thing about that is that that's what got us involved in a specific geographical area. But from a geological perspective, it's a long trend of a mineral belt that's got a huge mineral endowment. So the historical stuff got us in there, but now we're doing the scientific exploration to actually find the deposits.
Perfect. So can you tell me how you got involved with Aurania Resources?
Well, I've worked with Keith Barron, who's the founder of the company. I've worked with him for about 10 years, and he was involved in the historical side of it, going through all the archives and finding out where he thinks that these two cities were. And then he talked to me about that concept, and I had to think, well, from that point of view, the jury's out. But from a scientific point of view, I worked in the belt contiguous with it. I worked there for 3 years, and we were lucky enough to make a bunch of copper discoveries. And so he was talking about an area that was contiguous to that, and I believe fundamentally that that belt continues with the copper and gold deposits. So I was there like a flash, because it's very seldom that one gets offered an exploration opportunity that makes so much sense.
Can you tell me about some of the exploration work you've completed in the past year or so? Where are you at since then?
Well, we're doing basic exploration, so we're doing stream sediment sampling, where the guys are just going up the streams and sampling the very fine material that's being brought down by the streams. That's very, very sensitive. We analyze that. The clays bind to the little metal ions that are in the water. Very sensitive at picking up gold and other metals. The other privilege that we've had is that we were able to raise enough cash to do the geophysics up front. And when we were finding the copper deposits in the mid-90s, we were doing that with just boots on the ground. And only afterwards did we realize that flying an airborne magnetic survey would be so efficient at finding these copper deposits, because the copper deposits have a core that's about 1 kilometer in diameter, and that's very, very easy to pick up with the magnetic. So we've flown that now in our new concession area, and that just gives us a huge leg up. It allows us to identify more or less where the areas that have got best potential for copper, while we're working with the stream sediments to pick up the gold and other metals as well.
Okay. Tell me a little about working in Ecuador. Obviously, you have a long history of being involved in the country.
Yeah, I went there in the mid-90s in a one-year contract and ended up staying 10 years. This particular area, it's dense jungle, topographically very, very hilly. It's a tough area. I mean, when we're asking for young geologists to join us, we have two criteria. The one is that they're Rambo-like, because we need that kind of physical aspect. But we also need experience, so we need them to have the experience of a 50-year-old. And so that makes it a little bit challenging, but we're looking for those people. So we've got a really good team, all Ecuadorian. And physically it's a tough, challenging terrain, but it's incredibly good fun. We're working with the local communities. They think that we're nuts because we're paying them for stuff that they do anyway. For a young geologist, it's just a spectacularly interesting thing to be involved in with the local communities and doing this grassroots exploration. I mean, this is an area that's never been explored before, and so one of the challenges is for us to keep our minds open. We're looking for gold, principally copper as well, which is, everyone's talking about the electric metals, but copper is the fundamental electric metal. And so we've got these exciting commodities and an incredibly exciting environment to be looking for them in as well.
Okay, we're at the beginning of a new year. Can you talk a little about what you have planned for 2018 at the project?
We've got the stream sediment program is going to be running for another sort of 18 months or so. So those Rambo type individuals are out there doing their thing. But as soon as they identify target areas, we're bringing in more experienced people. The guys who are doing the stream sediment sampling, I mean, they're literally out in two-man tents for weeks at a time, sleeping in hammocks and all that, and that's a bit tough for the older guys. So we've got a sort of second tier of the exploration group that's made up of these more experienced people that are doing the follow-up once the targets are identified. And so the stream sediments are going to be running. The follow-up of the targets is going to be ongoing behind that, and then we plan to be doing some scout drilling in the second half of the year where we would just drill maybe 3 to 5 holes on the targets that we've identified, just to help us prioritize which ones are better, because very often the best looking target at surface doesn't necessarily turn out to be the most sort of exciting target once you've drilled it.
Perfect. Anything else investors should be watching for at the company or aware of?
Well, one gets asked what's unique about the company, and I think there are a couple of unique features to it. The one is that we're on trend of an incredibly well-endowed mineral belt, and the area that we're in has never been explored before. So that's one thing that's unique. The other thing is the people. Keith Barron, who started what is the CEO of the company, he doesn't need this work. He's there because he's passionate about it, passionate about generating shareholder value. And, he doesn't draw a salary or anything. He is there because he wants a repeat of his prior discovery that created an enormous amount of shareholder value. And we have an opportunity to create that shareholder value and hopefully do even more, create more shareholder value.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thanks for having me, Charlotte.
Once again, I'm Charlotte McLeod with the Investing News Network, and this is Richard Spencer with Aurania Resources. Aurania trades on the TSXV under the symbol ARU.